Guidance on Online Education. My name is Dr. Dalia Hafiz. I'm Assistant Professor at the College of Architecture and Design at Al Qureir University in Dubai, UAE, where summer never ends. So today, I will be presenting me and my colleague, Dr. Lorenza, our research on architecture online education. So just to walk you through what we will be discussing, the agenda of the presentation, I will start by a little bit of introduction and the history of architecture education and what happens when we switch to online education, and then the post-pandemic education worldwide generally, and then our research approach, which focuses on survey to a group of educators, architecture educators. Then finally, I will walk you through the framework in the conclusion. So architecture is different than most of other educational program because it's very rich and very diverse, and it requires a lot of iterative process and interaction and a lot of thinking and a lot of review and a lot of feedback, and then coming back and checking the work and so on. So COVID was, of course, a big issue for everyone, but for architecture, it was slightly different, and that's what I'll be discussing in the next few slides. It really affected the education, all kind of education. I mean, we have to all agree on this, but specifically, different things affected architecture. It affected all kinds of education, so the way we deliver the method or the way we deliver the materials, the way we test the students, the way we examine and check and evaluate, and even the contents has to be revisited in order to fit the new change. So I would like to start with a little bit of history on architecture. So the profession of architecture is very old. So the word architect was used as the word builder in many years ago, thousands of years ago, in one of the most famous tombs, Egyptian tombs, with the word the builder. And in order to evaluate and mention how valuable the architect was buried with the king. So the architect who built the pyramid was buried with the king. I mean, one of the first pyramids. So the profession has been really evaluated and has been really appreciated for a very long time. The profession and the education of architecture has faced a lot of changes over the years. So starting from the Egyptian, the Greeks, the Roman, the idea of how education of this particular architecture education has changed over time. There has been a lot of shifts and a lot of involvement of other components or other supplementary issues. We can mention some of them related to construction, to building material, to philosophy, to art, to history, and a lot of architectural schools start to embed these in their educational system. So it cannot be studied alone. There was a lot of other issues that need to be involved as well. So I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with that picture. I mean, yes, this is our daily life, talking to that black screen with teeny tiny pictures of people sleeping and moving and leaving and coming back. So the case of online education is more challenging when it comes to architecture because the major component of physical interaction, physical modeling, drawing is gone. So you cannot tell. I remember the first time I started to review one of the students' work on the screen, I was telling him this line, go a little bit to the right, go a little bit to the left, yes, up, bottom, And then I start to point at the screen because I was falling apart. I mean, I really want to hold a pencil and start to draw on the screen. That was like the very first classes we had when we switched to online education, before we realized, I mean, yes, we can draw on the screen, we can do screen different types of screen share with editing options and all that. So of course, it's for us, it's very challenging. We're used to touching the model, touching the paper, talking, grabbing things, sketching. So for us, it was different. So me and my colleague, we decided to have a group of feedback from a group of architects, educators, to better understand how it works. And before we did that, we started to investigate how it affected everyone worldwide. So from that, we gain a little bit of understanding on how the world is changing and how many things have been affected. Um, so from the interviews, we conducted a few things. So my colleague, Dr. Lorenza, had a course related to enhancements of online education and how it can affect the students' performance and all that. Then we conducted the survey, which focuses on feedback of the challenges and the lessons learned and how things can be implemented into architectural education afterwards. So a few things that came up from the interview, that there are new tools that have been incorporated that we never used before. Of course, physical interaction and physical space, I mean, printing out the board and start to look at the drawings, architectural drawings and sketch is still important. We cannot completely ignore that. The new delivery methods actually can help the educator to criticize their very own relationship between them and the students. So how is my relationship? How was my recording in the lecture? I can come back and revisit myself and see, did I really perform well? I can listen to my own presentation and see, oh, well, I maybe need to change that. I need to do something about myself and also my relationship with my students also. Um, so also a bit of an issue that we have to be more careful about what to assume from the students and what can be managed. I remember in the first semester when the COVID was there, part of the project requirements was physical modeling, and we were going to a complete lockdown. So it was a bit of a struggle. Should we like completely remove the requirement as the students are not able to go for a physical model? Should we ask them to do something with what they have at home, like a piece of paper, and create something small? Should we tell them you can still order things online and manage yourself? So we start to evaluate what are the things that we can expect from the students to manage with not being able to be physically available. Um, Also, we looked at other options. I mean, we're trying to think more positive and think about the good things that can happen. So although there is a lot of negative things that affected everyone, but there is a possibility of actually, it is happening and it is possible. Materials are being delivered and students are performing. So maybe in the future, there might be some courses that can be provided online. I mean, maybe if the course was really successful, it can be afterwards offered online. So that was one of the things that we looked at. So although it was intended, architecture education was intended to happen physically, we noticed also through the evaluation from the different professors that some students are actually performing better online. And these are mainly the ones who are a little shy or have any like communication barriers or do not do well with public speaking. So for them, they were able to communicate and to perform better than other students, especially the ones who would do a long commute to the university on a daily basis. When they sit home and work and use that time to produce their work, actually they start to work better. Also, there is no boundaries. there's no cities, no nations. We also noticed that most of the professors were able to conduct a series of online webinars, conferences, workshops that happened online, and most of them surprisingly were international, because now we are home. We can actually, what would be the problem to actually give a presentation in another country? Well, it's 9 or 10 or 11 at night, in my time, while it accommodates the other country's time. So we were able to participate, we were able to communicate, we were able to incorporate efforts from other countries and other universities, which again was about a positive thing. So um, many things, surprisingly, we resisted. We completely resisted online communication. I mean, I would remember myself, shame on me. I remember if one of the students would send me their work by email previously and ask to get a review, I would always say, can we please wait until we meet tomorrow or after tomorrow so we can have physical review? I mean, how or why would we get a review online? And surprisingly, just a couple of months later, everything is happening online and all the reviews are happening online. So, as I mentioned, you're able to reach a wide audience level. So you can communicate with a lot of students. And also you can, surprisingly, if there is, for example, in our college, there is the College of Architecture and College of Interior Design, we never noticed that there are some sessions that can combine both of them together. So you just send the link to both groups, and we can easily communicate the timing, and we can easily, because as easy as mentioning, okay, so this session is going to start after the end of the classes, so it will start at 5 p.m. There's no issue, they're home. So actually the material that we are able to deliver are increasing or increased in this particular time. um, So here, I would like to go over the survey goals. So we were trying to explore through self, of course, reflection, so understanding of what we did. So how to create the inclusive online environment of diverse learners. So as I said, some of the students are performing better. However, on the other side, some students are not performing at all. So we start to investigate what's the problem. So part of it was asking the students, like, what's the problem? And what, like general questions, what are the main issues? Would you prefer online or online or offline, on campus or online? So we start to get feedback. Yeah, I have 5 brothers or sisters. I do not have like a proper space to sit and work. So we start to understand what could be the problem. So we did a little bit of twist to the system in order to help the students and give them more time and understand like a wide range of students work. Some students who actually do work, it was noticed that students who do have a second job perform a lot better when studying online, because they can come back from, they can work all day and they can come at night and do all their assignments and do their homework. They did not miss any classes because the class is online, so they can take a 1 hour or 2 hours from their job and attend the class and go back to their job. So their performance, it was noticed that it was a lot better. Self-reflection was a bit of an issue, as I said, examining our own self and how we have a diverse learners, especially online. Deepening the understanding of inclusion. So how we can include the students in the discussion, include the students, because sometimes you do not actually physically see them if the screen goes off, or you don't know what's happening beyond this rectangle. So you have to always make sure that the students are participating in the discussion and in classrooms, and finding new ways and suggestions and work together and always give ourselves feedback on how it works. Suggesting strategies for the inclusion of diverse learners, of course, to online courses. So here, the areas of improvement, we the improvement based on the survey's results. It shows that, so the conclusion of the survey show that there is a possibility of enhancing the overall online teaching experience through a set of points that I just talked about. Also looking at available technologies, either we purchase some of them are available online, some the students actually proposed, either new softwares, new plugins, new ways, new even software they learn to help them present their work, because previously they would just build a model and put it in the sun and start to look at it. So instead of that, they decided to learn new softwares to help them with like energy performance, understanding daylighting, many issues related to architecture. Boosting life and interaction. I would say mostly how we put together a set of points on how to get the students involved by asking questions, by giving them group tasks that they do in class. Sometimes we do a lot of ice breaking, just ask them what they do at home. I mean, one of the things that we, through our um, education, like online education enhancement courses that we had, was mostly related to how do you break the ice, how do you get the students to talk. You just talk about how was their day for any class for 5-10 minutes. Talk to them about small things like how was their day, what's their best thing to do, what's their best subject, how many brothers or sisters they have. I mean, it's not um, interfering with their privacy, but at the same time, it makes them feel that they are important. They are not a figure on the screen anymore. They are a person with a name that is being taken care of and is important to the professor, which actually is true. We do care about them. So it is very important to make them feel that we care about them. They're not just numbers and digits at the end of the semester with some grades. They are people, and we do care about their feelings and their performance. One of the things actually was to make sure that they are mentally and psychologically okay, because let's be honest, many of us are not feeling as well as they were before COVID. So it is always important to make sure that the students are okay and they're feeling well, and to comfort them if needed, and to give them encouragement as much as you can. Time management. It is always very important to give the students sessions and walk them through ways how to manage their time, because it's so easy to get lost when you cannot keep track with classes, you're not physically there, you do not talk to your colleagues, you do not meet your friends, so the students don't know whether they are far behind or they are okay, did they miss anything, sometimes they don't know. So you always have to encourage the students to manage their time properly in order not to miss anything. Exploring further best practices, of course, and teaching tips. So we tried as much as we can to provide feedback and to write down many ways and practices that are either used or can be applied in the future. So we started to see some things, as you see on the right hand side, that you can start to see that you can learn architecture and engineering from the comfort of your home. Yes, it is possible. Now it is happening. So we start to see that COVID, although it took a lot of our comfort and took us away from our comfort zone, it shifted or created another kind of comfort zone, that there's no boundaries, no rules on which type of education you can take. It also brought down the cost or the tuition of several universities to a wider group of people, so it becomes manageable for other students. So again, it seems like COVID is going to stay with us for quite a bit of time. So it's pretty challenging, and the norm now is the new norm. It's not the norm anymore. It's completely different. Our life has completely changed, and same as education. So we need to adapt to the uncomfortable and make it comfortable. New opportunities are possible, emerging other education and other opportunities that were almost impossible before. Um, Also, the curriculum, we noticed that the whole curriculum has to adjust. So each and every course had to do a little bit of shift or twist in order to depend less on physical material and physical interaction, and work more on creativity and imagination, and let the student explore. So it is, we need to give the students the opportunity to explore more, use more technology and tools, and of course share their knowledge. I would like to thank you all for listening. I tried to stay within the time. So me and my colleague, Dr. Lorenza, we do thank you so much. And I'll be more than happy to receive all your questions or comments by email. So my email and Dr. Lorenza's email is here. Thank you so much and have a great day or evening, and take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.